What's poppin', fellow nerds? Today we are doing another gameplay video. This is round 3 from last Friday's locals. This is my red Omnimon deck versus Megazoo with a little blue baby engine. I fortunately lost, quote, the die roll, so I do get to go second, which is ideal for me, especially against this matchup in particular, because he's forced to give me a bunch of memory to do pretty much anything. Also, just a reminder, we are still doing both of our giveaways. One is a 1.5 booster box, and another is 4 tournament promo packs, 1 to 4 different people. The links for those are in the description, so check them out. So he starts his turn off by hard playing, I think that's Durandamon for 10 to give me 10 memory. I'm down. I Digivolve into my Agumon. Digivolve into my Greymon. Then I Digivolve into my Metal Greymon. So right now with my inheritables, if I put a Mega that has Greymon in its name, it will be getting, let's see, 7,000 DP from the inheritables. And that's without Digimon being active, I guess, because he doesn't have 5 cards in his trash. I play my promo Agumon and whiff on the tie, which is going to happen more often than not. Like, I knew that when I put the card in, but what's awesome is playing this Agumon lets me see the tie Kamiya more often, because even when you do miss on the top 5 cards, it means you're bringing the card to the closer to the top of your deck. So like, yeah, you're missing, but you're taking 5 cards off and just getting that much closer to the Tai Kamiya. So I really like playing it because it lets you see Tai more often without having it clog your hand. And I Digivolve into my Greymon. And you'll never guess what I drew, that's right. One of my Tai Kamiyas. And I, of course, play it. Pretty happy with the way my turn played out. Giving Red Omni a bunch of memory is very dangerous. So the Mega Zoom matchup's kind of interesting, especially when the Red Omni player is playing a bunch of inheritables that make their dudes huge. Because I think a normal Red Omni deck that's not playing all of the DP gainers like I am is going to actually have a difficult time swinging into security for the Megazoo, just because you're worried about swinging over their Megas, their 6s and 7s. And he feels very threatened by the stack that's currently building my breeding area, so he does play his Machine Dramon. So he has a blocker. He doesn't get much value out of it. He Digivolves my Greymon, whoop-de-doo. But he feels the need to do it, since if I get, let's say, War Greymon from BT1 on top of that stack in my security, or not my security, but my breeding area, it's going to be swinging for 3 security, doesn't check options, and it's going to be swinging for, what, like 18,000, 19,000, something like that. And I unfortunately do not have a War Greymon from BT1, but I do have a Phoenixmon. And I am totally cool with him blocking this. I get to just get rid of his Machine Dramon if he blocks it. So that Phoenixmon is swinging for 17,000 for 2 security. And then I Digivolve my Cordramon. And this is so I can protect my Phoenixmon, because he can crash his Durandamon into my Phoenixmon on his turn just to get rid of it. And I would prefer that not to happen. So I do play my blocker so I can keep that from happening. And then I play a Groundramon for 5 to choke him at 1. So this keeps him from dropping another Machinedramon because Machinedramon's play cost is 12, and the most he can use right now is 11. So he does try to crash, and I block it. But he does have the follow-up to it, and he Millenniumons my Mega. So that was a good play by him. He got to run over my Corgimon for free while still getting rid of my my Mega. And now I have to deal with a Millenniumon, which is... It's not super difficult. Millenniumon's just annoying more than anything. Now, did you evolve my Dark Tyrannomon? And I play an Agumon, and this is a mandatory effect, so I have to do it every time I play that Agumon from hand. And he wisely wants to double check and see what I revealed. Because it is public information. Once you activate the effect, you have to reveal the top 5 cards. That's actually my least favorite part of playing that Agumon. Like, I don't care about flipping the 5 cards and putting them on bottom of the deck and not drawing them. It's the fact that it gives your opponent information. That's my least favorite part of that card. I still enjoy playing it, but like that's the one thing that I don't like about it. And I choke him at 1 again. And I need a Mega. He swings into my security was Durandamon. He does hit an Omnimon Alter S and dies. He swings with Millenniumon. And just barely gets over the Wargreymon. And he Kaiser Nails, which lets him play the Machinedramon from underneath the Millenniumon for free. He doesn't get any value out of it because I don't have anything on my field that can be Digivolved at this point. But he does get to put an 11k blocker on the field, which I'm kind of sad about because I was planning to start just swinging in, like suiciding into a security on the next turn. So it was a good play by him. Because if he hadn't done that, I literally would have suicided with all of those guys just to put him on a clock. And right now I can't attack with anything because nothing's bigger than the Machinedramon. So I drop a Structure Deck Greymon from hand. So something I could have done was I could have swung without Digivolving the Corgimon. I could have swung with all 3 and 2 attacks would have gone through obviously, but I would have definitely lost one of them to the block from Machinedramon, which would have been my ultimate for sure. But I could have also swung with just Agumon and then Groundramon, and if he had waited to block my ultimate, I could have just not swung. There's potential for that, but... And he swings with his Vmon with jamming, and I block it with my Corgimon just to get that thing off the field. I suspect an Alter S is coming. This is one of the things when you're still learning all of the cards in the game, is you can't really you don't remember everything's DP. And this is a dead giveaway to your opponent that's aware of Alter S and your ability to drop him. Is when you peek underneath their top Digimon card to look at the DP, the one below it, they obviously have an Alter S in your hand. Getting Mega Locked this game definitely hurt because I have both Omnimons in my hand. Although Alter S doesn't really do anything against Megazoo, but regular Omnimon does. And he swings with his Millenniumon in my security. And then Alter S's and clears nearly everything on my... Well, clears half my board, I should say. But he does not have a blocker. Which is the main issue, was he had a blocker. So him not having a blocker is better for me. I did draw Gaia Force this turn. So I swing with my Dark Tyrannomon for 8k and hit his tie. And then swing with Groundramon for 6k into security, and I do die to the Metal Siegramon. And then I Gaia Force his Alter S. The main reason why I did that is so he couldn't Kaiser Nail back out the Machinedramon. If he didn't have anything underneath that, I probably just would have left it on the field. Then he drops a Volk. So now I'm trying to figure out how to set myself up to win on the following turn. Because I obviously can't win this turn. Because he has one security left and I can't swing twice without going into an Omnimon. And I don't have enough memory to do that. So I swing for 7k into a security and die. That's fine. And so right here, what I'm trying to do is set up to where he can't Alter S me on his turn. I'm pretty sure I have the other Gaia Force in my hand. And so I Digivolve just to get a draw. And then I Gaia Force his Volk. So I Gaia Force that just so he, like, Millenniumon's a level 7, so he can't Digivolve on top of that. And I don't lose Alter S now because he can't Alter S. And I did get rid of one of his bodies, so like he can't hit both security on this turn. The only thing I didn't account for was him playing another Machinedramon. So now he has a blocker on the field. I only have one guy, and I have one security left, and he has 2 dudes that can swing. And I do not have enough memory to run over his Millenniumon. So I obviously could have played around Machinedramon dropping on the following turn by just playing multiple rookies to where he could only block 1 attack, so I didn't care. But if he had Machinedramon and Alter S in his hand, which I can't see his hand in this game, so I don't know, but it didn't matter what I did and what I tried to play around, but in this instance, it's possible that I just guessed wrong, but he could have just had both answers and it didn't matter what I did. Now, hard play Blitz. So I'm playing to my win condition here. So I hard play Blitz. So the only chance I have of not losing this is him just not swinging, which is, the chances of that are slim to none. But I'm not going to scoop if there is a chance my opponent could misplay. Because he could have some random reason for not wanting to swing. I don't know what that could be. Fearing a Gaia Force or whatever, but there's obviously no reason not to swing. And he does swing for game with Millenniumon. So he takes game 1. That means I do get to go second again for game 2, which is cool. So I'm hopeful that he gives me 10 memory again on his turn. So he does start with giving me 10 memory, which I appreciate. Now I get to see what I can do. And I just start by building some stacks to scare him on his turn. Once again, anything I put on top of that stack in my breeding area is going to be swole. And he drops Millenniumon, which I don't really care about. I get to promote my guy. And if I have a Mega in my hand, which I'm confident that I do, I get to Digivolve and swing, since I do have 5 memory. So BT War Greymon comes out. So War Greymon is 14k. So it does die to Omnimon if I do hit it in a security, but it is swinging for 3 security. And we swang on him. 1, 2, and 3. No Omnimon checks, so we just get in there. And then, to avoid getting swung into, so he gets rid of my board, I Alter S him. I definitely would have preferred a regular Omnimon there, because he can just drop a level 7 on top of that Hyandramon again. But I didn't have a regular Omnimon here. But he can't swing into my Alter S, like he has to have a level 7 Mega to get rid of it. He could Machinedramon and de-Digivolve it, but that'd be less impactful. So now I'll just go down to my ultimate and just put another Mega on top if I have it. So at this point, if he drops a Machinedramon, he'd be doing me a favor, because I have BT1 War Greymon in my hand. So I could just Digivolve again and then swing for 3 security again. He does not Machinedramon me, but he does Infermon me, which de-Digivolves 1 on play. So he just puts me back down to my War Greymon, which I'm okay with. Still checking 2 security. Would have preferred to leave that at Alter S, obviously, because it's 15k, or I'm sorry, 18k swing for 2 security, but swing for 14 for 2 security. And now we just need to set up for the following turns, seal victory. So there are ways that he can clear my board. So like he could swing Hyandramon into my War Greymon and then Millenniumon to get rid of my Groundramon. If I'd had a Rookie, I obviously would have played it, but so he does swing with his Vmon and hit my a Gaia Force in security, which pretty much seals the deal. So I'm pretty sure he has Machinedramon in his hand, so yeah. So I do take game 2, he scoops. So I unfortunately do have to go first and give him 2 memory. And he hard plays his Hyandramon, putting me to 8. I play my Agumon and whiff on Tai. I do consider organizing those in the order I'd like to draw them if I see them again. And the only one I really want to see again is War Greymon, so I just put that one on top, or leave it on top actually. I just want to see my Megas in this matchup, just because all of his guys are very big, so if I don't draw Megas, it's kind of a pain to swing into security since I don't have jamming. And I play my Cordramon, and that's really just for the draw. And potentially if he does get a Vmon on top of the Demi Vmon he has in his breeding area. I play another Agumon, and I do hit Tai. And I put a Gaia Force and a Mega. On the bottom of my deck, unfortunately. So I organized them, but I organized them face down. So I did flash him to let him know what order I put them in, just because that is supposed to be public information. He didn't have to say anything. I realized that I did it face down, so I was like, I need to show him out of courtesy. Then he plays his Ragnalordmon. And doesn't get to activate the effect. And he swings for security +1 for 14k. And he does survive. So Ragnalordmon is a problem. He has reboot and security +1. So I just got put on the clock. Unless I can deal with that Ragnalordmon. By the way, he did activate a Kaiser Nail to play the Hyandramon from underneath the Ragnalordmon, if you couldn't tell what happened there. And it just puts me to 3, so he didn't give me a bunch of memory to work with, unfortunately. And I swing with my Agumon, fully expecting it to die. And I play a Groundramon just to put him to 2. He swings with his Ragna, checking 2 security again for 14k. And I do decide to block that one, just to buy me a little more time. So this is actually a misplay. It's very subtle, but it is. If I had left that on the field, I could Digivolve into an Ultimate and Digivolve into my War Greymon, and most likely kill him on the following turn if my War Greymon survived enough checks. So this definitely is something to learn from. And he plays a Zudomon, and the on-play effect of Zudomon is draw 2 cards. Pretty good. Nice little splashable card in Mega Zoo. Lets you replenish your hand a little bit since you don't get to Digivolve. Hardly ever. You don't get to Digivolve very often, just because the only time you Digivolve is when you put a 7 on a 6 for the most part. Also, for those of you that don't know, Ragnalordmon has Reboot as well. So you can't even attack over him, like you have to remove him with an effect. So he's a very annoying card. So he has game on board if I don't have a Gaia Force in my security, so I am forced to do this. So the stack I built is not going to be as big as it needs to be. So I play BT1 War Greymon. It's swinging for 4 security. Due to its own effect, the Greymon underneath it, and tie. But it's only 11k. So like the chances of me running through 4 security against Mega Zoo for 11k are very low, but I'm forced to do it. And I swing. And we hit tie. We have Volk. But we do die to the second to last security check. If I had actually checked all 4 securities, even if I died to the last one, I actually would have won this turn. The odds of me swinging through all 4 security were very low, because he plays a lot of Digimon that are 12k or bigger. And I played on my win condition here, which is Gaia Force being in security. If I do have a Gaia Force in security, I should be able to survive 1 more turn. And then if I can just swing for game if he doesn't clear my whole board and put up a blocker. He swings with Ragna. And Ragna would have also needed to die to the first security check. He could have checked an Omnimon and also died on the first check. That would have caused me to live another turn as well. So now the last card has to be Gaia Force. And he Digivolves his Ragna, activates the effect to put a Durandamon underneath him to gain 3 memory. So he gets a Digivolve for free, essentially. Then we check the last security, and it is not Gaia Force. So he does take this. I do lose this round 1-2. So GG to my opponent. But I appreciate you guys stopping by for another gameplay video. If you guys are interested in seeing more of this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. But until next time, see ya.